3 years ago, I filmed a video sharing a version of a no-sew junk journal binding using a vintage book cover, which is my most viewed video on my channel. For this month's Digital Collage Club design team project, I would like to share a mini version of a no-sew binding junk journal. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. In this first of 2 episodes, I will show you how to create super quick signatures out of 1 sheet of paper per signature, and then we're going to decorate the pages. So for my signature base, I'm choosing these fun bubble papers. If you haven't seen the recent video where I show you exactly how to make these fun pages, please see the video link below. And if you don't want to make them yourself, you can also find digital versions of these linked below. For this method, your base pages don't need to be double-sided. Mine are because I'm using the original bubble pages, which I did on both sides. But if you have anything printed that you want to use as a background, then that's fine if your back side is blank. You can do this with any size of paper. This will work just as well with the US size paper as well as the European A4 size paper or whatever paper size you might have. I have not tried it with a square, but any rectangle will work, any size will work. I've also tried this in A5, which will give you a much smaller book, of course, but I'm going to work with the standard A4 paper, and it's super simple to fold the signatures. And I will show you a super simple method to fold the signatures in no time at all. So you take your paper, you fold it once in half lengthwise. Now the only thing you should take note of is that you fold these corner to corner as exact as possible. Then we unfold it again. We turn it around, we fold it in half, again making sure to match up those corners as well as possible. Then we take this half that we just folded up and we fold it down all the way to where the fold is, again matching up those corners. And we do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to turn this around and also fold this down to the edge of my paper. So you should kind of have this shape now, an M. And now we're going to take this and we just need this middle part here. So basically the middle of the M, I'm going to fold together so that these flaps are on the outside. And I'm going to just cut this part right here. And I'm cutting right through both of these parts here. So that's why I want to fold it. And if you can't see your crease well, like I cannot see mine very well to cut it. So I'm going to first take a pencil and draw that line. And then I'm going to cut just until that crease that we made. So we went through both papers. And now we're going to take, this is the best part, we're going to take these and just pull them down like that. And then we just crease these again a little more. And now you should have this here. And all we need to do now is just to fold them together. And you will probably notice that even though you took a lot of care to fold the corners exactly, it's not going to match up 100%. So I have some pages here that are, you know, not exact. I can try to fold them a little better. Just because of the folding, each section is not going to have the same exact size. You could always trim it with your scissors if that bothers you. What does bother me is my pencil line. I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, so up here, for example, this bothers me. That's too much. So I will just trim that off. So I'm going to make 3 of these, and each of these basically makes one signature. The fun thing about this method is that what you could also do is just glue these together, and then you actually just have a piece like this that you could just have standing on your bookshelf or your mantelpiece or wherever, and you can just display whatever you have created on those pages. You know what I mean? And you could rotate it every time so that you see something new. I think that on its own is kind of fun. The other fun thing about this is that you could, instead of just gluing all the pages together, you could of course make pockets. So depending on which page you're looking at, they would have different pockets. So for example, this one here is closed on the front, but it's open on the top. So in theory, you would just have to glue the bottom here or sew the bottom, and you'd have a top loading pocket. The next one here is a side loading pocket. So you would also, again, just have to glue the bottom. The next one is again a top loading one. You just glue the bottom, and the next one is again the side loading one. So of course, depending on how you fold it, you can vary where your pockets are, because you can choose, of course, where your first page would be. So I'm going to make 2 more of these so that I have enough for 3 signatures. Let me just show you the folding again. So once we fold up the short side, we take it apart, we fold up the long side, we fold down on the one side, we turn it around, we fold down on the other side, then we have our M. We make sure we have these 2 in the middle together. We help ourselves with a little pencil line, cut along it. We hold this like this, and we just bend it down so that we have this here. And then we just crease these one more time, and we have our signature with 4 double pages. And when you fold them up, when you're trying to decide which one is your first page, then you will notice that some will fold nicer than others. For example, if I would fold it like this, I already see that this is buckling and this is not folding well. So I don't want this in the beginning. But if I fold it like this, it works out pretty well. So you can play around with those and see which ones work best. So once you have all your signatures together, obviously you could do more or less than 3. You can decide where you want to glue your pages, whether you want to actually have pockets or whether you want to just glue everything closed. Totally up to you. One thing I would consider, if you leave pockets, and if you don't want the back side to just be white, you could somehow decorate the inside, because you'll be seeing a little bit of it. So you see, if I would just close it on the bottom here, I would see a little bit of the inside. So maybe you want to add some stamping or some distress ink or oxide or watercolor or whatever you want before you close it up. Afterwards, it's a lot harder. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these. I'm going to do this with my 3-in-1 glue or Collage glue, which is actually the glue that's in here. So as a reminder, Collage glue is the same as the 3-in-1 glue, but it's cheaper and more readily available in Europe. Same consistency, same ingredients. So for the first one, I'm just going to add some to the bottom here so that these, whoops. I should probably wait till that dries. So that will leave me a top loading pocket. So I will just go through each signature and then decide what I want where. So the next one I will leave as side loading. So again, I will just glue the bottom. The third one is again a top loading one. So again, actually I'll just glue all the bottoms, and that way I will have 2 side loading and 2 top loading pockets. I don't have to use all the pockets, but if I do that, then at least I will have that option. I'll trim off a little bit here. The rest is fine. Just want to make sure the pages don't glue onto each other. Probably best to just stand them on their head and let them dry. So I'll do that with the other 2 as well. Once they have all dried, I'm going to ink them up with Vintage Photo, which I haven't used in a while, but I think that the brown here on my prints is relatively reddish, so I think the Vintage Photo will look best with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and ink up fronts and backs of all the pages of all signatures. Okay, I'm done inking up all the edges. Obviously, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. That's just my preference. And now I've folded them so that I have every second page is a side loading pocket and every second page is a top loading pocket. So top side, top side, top side, and so on. Just make sure when you add images that your top loading pockets are not actually on the top, not on the bottom. That is something that would totally happen to me. So let's think about the decorations. So I will be using images from the Digital Collage Club, which is a membership-based website with thousands of royalty-free digital craft supplies. Once you sign up, either for a year or a lifetime membership, you will get instant access. All images are created exclusively for this club. You get new images each week and you're able to sell the craft items you created with these images. So as I mentioned, there are 2 options available: a membership for 1 year or a lifetime, which means you pay once and have access to all the images and tutorials for your whole life. You can find discount codes for both types of memberships linked below in the description box. I would like to point out that I do receive a commission if you use these links, so it's also a huge help for my small creative business. As always, thank you in advance if you sign up or if you have joined in the past using my link. Please note that in order to use my codes for the discount, you need to use the link below, otherwise it will not work. So in preparation for this video, I have already printed these images from the Art of Literature journal kit, but I've printed them smaller and I'll show you right here how I did that. And I didn't print all of them either. I just selected the ones that I wanted to have from that journaling kit. So I opened all the files of the journaling kit. Then I chose the images that I wanted to print. Then I go to File and Print. I select Selected Images in Sidebar. Then I click on this click down menu where it says Preview and select Layout. Then I choose 4 pages per sheet and I click Print. This is what the menu looks like on an Apple computer. If you have a Windows computer, it will look a little bit differently, but I'm assuming the menus are quite similar. So this is the page size that you will get if you print 4 pages per sheet. So when you print them, actually, they're arranged like this basically. So this would be 1 double journaling page, and I just cut them out and I cut them down the middle as well, because I'm not going to add them as a signature page by just folding them like you would a lot of times. But I wanted these separate so that I can glue them onto my pages. And as you can see, I've sewn around some of these just because I like the look. Even though this is a no-sew journal, I am adding some sewing as decoration only. So let me show you these. So these are all of the sewn ones, and I like my threads to stay long. That is a personal preference, obviously. You might know I love reading books. And maybe you don't know that I tell you what I read and I give my quick reviews in my Plan With Me videos that I have every month. So if you're interested to see what I read and what I like and don't like, please check out those videos. I will link the playlist for those below. So as I said, I did not print all of the pages. And by the way, I ran into a fox the third time actually on my walks in the morning at our Schönbrunn castle. And if I still have that footage, because I was able to film him this time, I will include that for you right here now. I zoomed in pretty far to get him. I was not as close as it might seem. Every time I meet him, I don't know who's more scared, he or me. But I make sure to stay my distance, so no worries. I know they are wild animals and I know they can have rabies. So these are all the little ephemera bits, which are of course smaller as well. And again, I have sewn some of these. But what I've done to all of them is I have backed them with cardstock because I like my ephemera pieces to be nice and sturdy. And I've also added my bubble technique on all of the cardstock in the back. So again, if you don't know how to do this, then please check out that video, which is linked below, with my coffee bubble dyeing. And I just love it because it is so super quick. And they dry really fast, and it's just really, really fun. And it just gives you a totally different design than if you would just spray it or dip it in coffee. I just love this. And I've also inked around the front and the back. So we have 8 sides per signature. I have 3 signature, that makes 24 sides available for decoration. I have printed 16 of these full pages. Half of them have no sewing, half of them have sewing. So I would like to kind of alternate between the sewing and the ones without sewing. And I will try to do my best to distribute them somewhat evenly. This is the image I want to have on the first page of my first signature. So that will be the first page we will see when we open the cover. I think it's absolutely adorable. I'm again going to use my 3-in-1 glue and just add glue to all 4 edges. No need to put any glue in the middle of the paper. So I will just go ahead and add these to all of my pages. So my signatures are starting to get some color in them with the printables. And I want to now add some more interest to my ephemera pieces by adding some gold splatters. The nice thing is that we can do it all at once. And I'm just covering up all the faces because I don't want any splatters in any faces. Not even the rabbit faces. And surprisingly, I'm using Mr. Van Gogh 803 Deep Gold watercolor. And I also want to add some to some of the pages of my journal. And I just wanted to show you, if you take the half size paper, so in Europe it would be the A5 size, and whatever your half is of your US size. Obviously our book is going to be half the size. So that's what that would look like. Also really cute. Here I used my paper rust digitals, and as you can see, I sewed around the edges rather than gluing them. So I still have my pockets. So there's a top loading one, but here's one that's open from the bottom because I was not paying attention when I was sewing. And this one is sideways and this one is sideways. Yeah, so I have a bottom and a top loading one. I just wanted to show you this size is also really cute. So it's the next morning and all my pages have all of the gold splattering. It's best to let these air dry. They just dry a lot nicer than if you dry them with a heat gun. And they are quite subtle, but they look so elegant. I just love them. And all of the ephemera has them. Yeah, just a cute, nice touch. So now I want to create some pockets and tuck spots for some of this ephemera. Let's start with the first signature. So I'm going to take some scrap paper. We're not going to see what's on it, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to create, for example, a little pocket here. And I'm going to cover it with little bits of scraps. These were from my little box, so I'm happy to use some of those. And I'll just make a little collage on top here. So basically I'm just covering that base piece of scrap. I'm just using my runny art glitter glue, which is still annoying me. So this is a great way to use up all your small random scraps. Okay, that running glue is really annoying me, so I'm going to switch to my tacky glue now. And I'm just going to glue 3 sides to make a fun little tuck spot. And we could create some more interest by adding something to the background here, for example, with a stencil. This particular one is a grunge mask from Studio Light. And the number, in case you need it, is this one, SLGR Mask 16. And I'm going to use my Distress Oxide Spray Frayed Burlap for this. Obviously, you could also just use a sponge or something and dab through it. I can use the reverse here. So what I've sprayed on, maybe on the other side, or maybe actually better on another page. Maybe this one here. Actually, I'm thinking now that would make sense to do that before I put all the pockets and everything on it, just to add the interest now. I'm not sure which one I like more. I think they're both very cool. So cool. Okay, that was quick. All done. Yep. I can also add like a little tab or something on top of the card maybe. Very simple, just like that. And then that can go in here. So I'm going to keep doing the same thing for the other pages, just create some pockets and tuck spots for the ephemera. So in the next episode, maybe we'll add a few things to the pockets. And then, of course, we need to make a cover and add the signatures. So maybe in the meantime, you want to start constructing your book and adding images so that you're ready for the next step. Thank you so much. Love you guys.
Mwah, mwah.